About 15 minutes ago at 10:45, 10:47, you'll see these 1,000 and 3,000 contracts on the 7.5 strike puts. What does that mean for Palantir earnings? Today is May 8, 11:04 a.m. And in this video, we're going to go over these unusual options before earnings today. If you haven't watched our video yesterday, we made a video on this about the unusual options that were done on this day, on Friday, May 5. And today is the last day to trade earnings on Palantir. And so if you haven't watched that video, it gives you more context on why we are doing the trade today. And so make sure to watch that at the end of the video. We'll link that there and also in the description, and also put that at the top of this here if you have info cards turned on. And to recap, that trade that we put on today was actually here, the unusual options we saw yesterday. For the Friday, this was the trade. It was the 7 strike puts and expiring November 17. And you'll see the open interest here at that amount. We saw 6,000 of them. So out of this amount of 8,963, 6,000 of them we know is from a large investor. We are also in this position. However, we sold the 7 strike puts. Even though that may look like a bullish position, it is not. It is, and we'll get right to it and explain why. So when we look at the unusual options today, you'll see this May 12 here, same date, same strikes. However, you see this is colored red, all executed at the 34 price of $34. And what does it mean? Because this is red and this is green, and could this be a buy or could this be a sell? And so that makes a big difference, right, for a put. So if it was a buy, it is bearish. If it is a sell, it is bullish. So what we think is going on here is, if you look more closely at this time frame here at 10:45 here, you'll see here that at that time the market was trading at 34 to 35. The 35 was the ask price. The 34 was the bid price, right? And so 2 minutes later, you then have that same price being executed, this time for 1,274 contracts. And now the market has, what has it done? It has shifted down, right? It has gone down 1 cent from 35 to 34 at the ask, from 34 to 33 at the bid. Now, when that happens, just 2 minutes kind of away, very close in time, it's telling us something. And what that's telling us is that if they're able to get that same price, and that the market is now stabilizing, because the market always tries to stabilize at the fair market price. And so as time goes on and more contracts are being executed, the market will price things at a more fair price, and the market bid-ask prices will be more fair. And so this market price is more accurate. It is the more fair market price. And so we think that the 7.5 strike puts are being bought. All right. And so because of that, for our trade, what we're doing is that we went out also to this 12th May, which expires in just 4 days, and also bought that 7.5 strikes. You see that here. And you'll see also the volume is much, at least higher than the open interest. So we know these are opening orders. And so what happens to this trade is that if you buy the 7.5 puts, and if since we also sold the November 17 based on also the unusual options yesterday, you'll see this is our trade. And so it is bearish. You'll see that currently Palantir is trading at 7.7. If it drops in price, it will be profitable because we are going to be above that zero profit loss on the y-axis. And even if it rallies, you'll see it will also gain in price. The only way it is going to be a losing trade is at expiration. Well, we're actually going to probably take off the trade right after earnings, so it'll be May 9. And so at that time, the break even will be about 7.62. You have to look at the purple line because that's the date of the purple line reflects this date. And then the blue line reflects the expiration date here. And also your contracts, the earliest one, which is this date. When this expires, it falls under this blue line. So we're most likely going to kind of adjust our position right after earnings. So we're going by the purple line. And so that break even is right here and also right here. Therefore, this is, and you'll see as we move around this range, that loss is only about like -2 at most, 2, 1. Never really quite makes it to a -$3. So it's a very minimal, low risk trade. And why? Well, because if we look at the Greeks, you'll see that we have a negative Vega trade, which is very good for earnings trades because we know right after earnings, volatility will be crushed. It will be decreased. So this trade takes advantage of the volatility IV crush after earnings. That's one thing you can always be certain about with earnings trades is that volatility will decrease. So negative Vega trades for earnings are always the best. Okay? And so that allows us to have a omnidirectional, bidirectional trade where if it does rally a lot, it could profit because up here it starts to go above that zero profit line here, you'll see. And if it goes down, we'll also be able to profit. So this, it is, you'll be more profitable since we have, if it goes down, so you'll see it's a little higher here. There's a higher profit if it goes down. So we are leaning bearish. However, we can also be profitable if it rallies because of the uncertainty that could happen in earnings. So, and if you want to be a little bit more bearish, also you can always also just add an additional, for example, let's say you want to add an additional 7.5 strike put, right? That will so that you have, it's kind of like a ratio spread. So you have 2 puts for every one here, so that you can actually profit even more if it drops. So, and then if it rallies, your risk reduction, you don't lose as much if it does rally. It's very minimal still. There's a built-in risk hedge already on this trade because of the put that you sold over here. Okay, and because this trade also is a negative Vega trade, you take advantage of that volatility contraction. Okay, so I hope you learned something in this video on what we think and how to trade Palantir. for this earnings that will be reported after hours. And please smash that like button. It helps our channel grow so we can keep making content and sharing our knowledge with people. And so subscribe if you haven't, and hit the bell icon if you want to be notified. As you can see, it is 11:14, and these unusual options had just come on about 30 minutes ago. So by subscribing and by hitting that bell icon that notifies you, turning notifications on, you will get notified whenever we see these unusual options just coming on to the tape right away, so we can take action as soon as possible to get into trades whenever these large investors get in. And all right, we'll put out that link also at the end. Make sure to watch that video on this November 17 trade, unusual options we saw here, those 6,000 that we saw here on the 7 strikes. I encourage you to watch that video if you are interested in Palantir trades. And please comment below on what you think about Palantir earnings. They'll be reported today after hours. All right, take care, everybody, and good luck, and thank you all.